Alan Menken's house, and we said, let's do something together. And the poster was up on the wall, and I said, well, what about Newsies? He said, we've worked on it for years. It doesn't work. I said, let me do it. And he said, it doesn't work. We've worked on it. We did a workshop. It just doesn't work. I said, I'll do it. It doesn't cost you any money. I got a typewriter. I'll go home and I'll write it.
As an artist, you do your work and you put it out there, and then what happens, happens. But who can be prepared for what happens with Newsies? It's just, it comes under the heading of zeitgeist or something, you know what I mean?
That I got to do it the first time in the first place was a dream come true for me growing up on the movie. And now getting to develop it even further and take it to the highest level, Broadway, and get to do the recording and get to, immortalize this character, Jack Kelly, which I feel like I was starting him off like letting your kid ride a bike. I get to be the one riding the bike, and I mean, it's very exciting.
I saw this idea that people change the world every day, as we're seeing with the Arab Spring, and it's usually young people finally figuring out that we just have to put our foot down and say something. And then I saw the idea of the feminist side of it with the young reporter who, that's trying to shove her in the social pages, but she wants to cover hard news.
She's standing up against all these guys, and that's tough, especially at the turn of the century. That's unheard of. So I immediately went to research, and I looked up Nellie Bly, and she was a news reporter at the turn of the century and was very, very successful. She came from Pittsburgh and then actually moved to New York and worked for Pulitzer. But all that was not easy for her.
And then instead of Jack being a cowboy, wanting to be a cowboy, which I didn't think was going to resonate with people, I said, what if he was a boy with an artistic soul? And just his drawings told us about the world we live in. That's what art's supposed to do. That was actually inspired by something that happened on Channel 13. There was I think it was the Ken Burns series on the Revolutionary War, and they said, they reported on the Boston Massacre, and nothing happened. All the newspapers carried the story, but Paul Revere did a drawing of the Boston Massacre. It was published in newspapers. Next day, the world was seeing a revolution.
When I look at Newsies, what happened with Newsies, and I just had written it off, and here it is. You just never know. Like Howard Ashman wrote in Little Shop of Horrors, don't it go to show you never know.